WMAZ Eyewitness News at 5.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Frank Beloy.
And I'm Lori Johnson. An hour from right now, the Lawrence County Board of Education will meet to talk about business as usual. But at least one parent plans to talk about bullying.
Gabrielle Dawkins is joining us in studio now with specific concerns of one group of parents. Gabrielle.
After our story yesterday about a man organizing a town hall to try to stop bullying, people flooded our Facebook page with comments and messages about their experience with bullying in schools. Kathy McCoy says her son was bullied. She adds it happens everywhere and every day. Lisa Mullis points out there needs to be stricter punishments for bullies. And Dan Hobbs says bullying isn't going anywhere. He says nowadays it's evolved into more than just stealing lunch money. I spoke to some who say the disciplinary actions they've seen aren't matching up with the long-lasting effects of bullying.
This is a problem. It's not going anywhere.
Jody Coleman says that his son, a ninth grader at West Lawrence High School, was bullied Monday. He claims that the school did not call him once it happened.
One of the kids pantsed him with his boxers and everything down, and another little girl filmed it.
He said that his son hasn't stepped foot in class since the bullying. Principal Clifford Garnto of West Lawrence High School says all teachers go through training to identify when a child is being bullied, but they get most of their information from the students.
Well, it's easier for the kids to identify it and see it, before we see it. So a lot of our information comes from the student population.
Garnto couldn't comment specifically on the disciplinary actions for this case, but he says for bullying, students can receive anything from
in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, parent conference, getting in contact, letting those parents know what's going on, and 95% of the time those parents are supportive, whether they are the one doing the bullying or the one who's getting bullied.
But Coleman doesn't think that that's enough. He wants school leaders to step up and own the problem.
There should be consequences to this, and it should be more than ISS. It should be more than a weekend school. These kids should know the severity of the problem. This could follow any kid. It could affect my kid 20, 30, 40 years down the road.
His son, an honor roll student, didn't want to press charges against those students. He's expected to go back to class on Tuesday.
They should be there to learn, and they're not. They're in there scared.
Now, the Lawrence County School Board meeting starts at 6 o'clock tonight, and Coleman says that the group of parents, plan to be there to talk about their concerns. Lori?
Gabrielle. Coleman says that he's expecting a crowd to come to a planned town hall meeting on bullying. It's scheduled for April 8th, starting at 10 a.m. at a local business called the Dudley Retreat.
Warner Robins police are investigating the third homicide to take place in the city within the past week. Jacob Reynolds joins us live from the scene of this morning's fatal shooting.
Officers tell us 43-year-old Edward McKellar was shot and killed here on South 3rd Street about an hour after midnight this morning. Now, spokeswoman Jennifer Person says investigators don't know what led up to this shooting or the shooting that happened a week ago at Just One More. 2 men in their 20s were shot and killed at that pub last Thursday. She says this is part of a trend nationwide of violent crime increasing. We checked that with the FBI, and violent crime did increase nationwide roughly 4% in 2015 and more than 5% in the first half of 2016. Now, Crystal Hodge lives next door to where the shot rang out this morning.
But since we moved down here, we feel safe. So that kind of made us a little iffy about what the situation happened. We don't know what really happened, but it shook us up a little bit last night.
Now, police did tell us they have a suspect in this case who is cooperating. No arrests or charges have been made yet. Live in Warner Robins, Jacob Reynolds, 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Jacob. Anybody with information on either last week's shooting or last night's shooting can call Macon Regional Crime Stoppers. 1-877-68-CRIME is the number to call. We are taking a closer look at who Edward McKellar was. He was from Macon County, but most people knew him as the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Andersonville. Agnes Towns says she was there when McKellar stepped into the role of the church's pastor 6 years ago. Towns says McKellar was a husband and a father to several children.
And like I say, he was a good pastor to me. I don't know about nobody else. And he'll beat the word to you the best he know how. But other than that, he was a good person to me.
Ms. Town says most of the time if you drove past the church on a Sunday, it would be packed. Centerville police officers are investigating 7 car break-ins that took place overnight on Wednesday. Centerville's police chief, Charles Haddon, says the calls started coming in around 1:15 in the morning. Now, most of the break-ins happened on El Dorado Avenue. Haddon says none of the incidents involved forced entry because the car doors were unlocked. Also in Warner Robins, police spokeswoman Jennifer Parsons says 11 cars were burglarized since Monday. 3 of those cases were forced entry. Officers are not sure if the cases in Warner Robins and Centerville are linked. Haddon says these types of cases typically happen each year when kids are on spring break. This is an ongoing investigation. If you have information, you're asked to call the Centerville Police Department at 478-953-4222.
The Georgia Department of Transportation and the Twiggs County Sheriff's Office want you to avoid a bridge on Highway 80 in Dry Branch. Now, as you see here, the bridge is in Twiggs County. It's on Highway 80 and Riggins Mill Road. According to Kimberly Larson with GDOT, the bridge is in critical condition due to erosion. It's the bridge that sits over Wolf Creek. City leaders told Yvonne Thomas they want the community to take this warning seriously.
I didn't know what they were doing. I know they were working on the road for a while.
Now part of Highway 80 is closed for repairs.
It's an inconvenience for everyone, people commuting through to go to work or to go to school.
Kimberly Larson with the Georgia Department of Transportation says that this bridge is in need of urgent repair due to erosion. She says crews will be out all weekend to repair the bridge, but she's asking people for your safety, stay off of this road.
But even if you live life in the fast lane,
those safety measures are put in place for a reason.
Twiggs County Sheriff Darren Mitchum says crossing this bridge isn't worth the risk.
You know, you may be the vehicle that's on the bridge if the bridge collapses, or you may be the next one that comes through after that. So.
Yeah, I don't think I want to try that. I don't want to try that at all.
Candace Ross says until the bridge is repaired,
I'm going to go down this one, which should be Sagoda, and I'm going to go down and hit the interstate down there.
She'll find a detour to get her children to school. And there's another safety rule for people who choose not to make that decision.
If we see or catch someone moving the barricades and driving across the bridge anyway, that person driving that car will get a trip to jail, and they'll have a court date to appear to answer for that.
In Twiggs County, Yvonne Thomas, 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News.
Larson says crews will be working to repair the bridge this weekend. The goal to reopen it on Tuesday, March 14th. But since the bridge is closed until next week, here's another way to get to Jeffersonville. You can take Riggins Mill Road to Sagoda Road, hop on I-16 West, and take exit 18 to Bullard Road and Jeffersonville. That road will lead you to downtown. We're digging deeper into how often bridges are inspected. Kimberly Lawson with GDOT says the department inspects all bridges every 2 years. Houston County Director of Operations Robbie Dunbar says that inspection comes at no cost to county or city governments. Dunbar says after the inspection, GDOT sends the county or city a report letting them know what repairs need to be made or if the bridge is too dangerous for operation. Danny Thornton lives in Houston County and says he crosses a bridge on Moody Road every day.
Yeah, if it's 4 or 5 years, a lot of things can happen in 4 or 5 years. It makes me feel a lot better about our bridges, knowing that someone is there every couple of years looking at it and making sure that everything's fine.
Now, Dunbar says common repairs range from landscaping around the bridge to fixing cracked or eroded concrete. He says if the bridge is controlled by the state, GDOT is responsible for fixing it.
We got a beautiful day going. We knew we would. I mean, gorgeous sunshine all day, the blue sky. Here's what's going on as we look outside. What is the current number, you may ask? And we find ourselves sitting at 75. So gorgeous weather. A little change tomorrow morning. I talked about it yesterday. Increasing clouds as we go through tonight. Definitely not as cold. No mid-30s. It'll be mid-50s. An early morning line of rain and storms, mainly during 5 to probably 8 a.m. to get through our whole area. Saturday's looking good. Actually, tomorrow's looking good after the rain's gone. But then a cool rain coming in for Sunday. So it's going to be a split weekend where Saturday is your better day. We'll break down the timing of tomorrow morning's rain and possible storms and then look at the Sunday stuff too. That's all coming up in just a little bit, guys.
Hard to believe it's still wintertime. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Still to come on Eyewitness News at 5, there's a battle brewing in Washington to see whether your health care could be changing. We're going to show you how Republicans' new health care plan has made strides today but still faces more challenges.
That's next on Eyewitness News at 5.
Welcome back. A Republican plan to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act is full steam ahead.
Craig Boswell is on Capitol Hill, where the American Health Care Act just passed through another committee vote.
On that vote, there were 31 ayes and 22 nays.
After more than 27 hours of debate, the House Energy and Commerce Committee approved the GOP plan to repeal and replace Obamacare.
This bill guts Obamacare, and it starts the process of putting patients back in charge of their choices.
Getting the bill out of committee is one thing. Getting approval from the full House is another.
I'd repeal Obamacare in toto, which is in direct contrast with the House leadership plan to amend Obamacare.
Congressman Mo Brooks is a member of the House Freedom Caucus, a group of about 40 conservative Republicans.
I think the overwhelming majority of the Freedom Caucus members at this point will not vote for the bill as it now reads.
President Trump has invited some of the Freedom Caucus members to go bowling at the White House tonight in an attempt to win them over.
If people have ideas that will help provide a more patient-centered healthcare system that drives down costs, the president and the team here will be willing to meet with them.
House Speaker Paul Ryan says there's not a lot of room for negotiations, but he believes Republican holdouts will ultimately come over to his side.
This is something that we as conservatives have been dreaming about for decades. This is the chance, and the best and only chance we're going to get.
The Congressional Budget Office still hasn't reported how much the GOP plan would cost. That's expected to be released on Monday.
24 House Republicans would need to join Democrats in order to block passage of the bill.
The margin on the Senate side much slimmer. Just 3 GOP senators joining the Democrats would kill the bill in that chamber.
Time now to check out our forecast. Ben, another gorgeous day.
Absolutely, a string of them. 75 and 77 for Macon and Warner Robins, and the high in Macon today was where we are now at 75. Well, 77 actually is where we ended up. Coming back, we're talking about rain in a couple of places. That's next. Well, getting to be that time of year to fire up the fountains. Yeah, there it is, Tatnall Square Park. The beauty is back on. May want to watch that next week, believe it or not. Finishing up winter, we could actually get in there freezing again next week. Weird stuff. We've hardly seen that this winter. Here's a look now at what's going on. And sitting at 75 degrees. It's gorgeous right now. Tonight we're going to have 50s, so increasing clouds, and then a rain chance setting up for tomorrow morning. After we get that out of here early tomorrow, we're back to sunshine tomorrow. It'll be windy on the backside of this system too, maybe 10 to 25 miles an hour out of the northwest. Saturday looks good, but a little bit cooler. Sunday looks like a cool rain kind of day. Here's Doppler Max HD. All right, so this is the scene we've seen for a couple of days, and we'll see it clearly for the rest of tonight and then really tomorrow. It's just a little thin window in the morning where we'll get a shot of rain with some storms. Stop it right here. We get into around 5 in the morning. We're looking at a line of rain, maybe a couple of thunderstorms in the mix with this. Probably going to be a little breezy when this comes through because it's kind of moving at a pretty good clip. There's around 6 to 7 in the morning for Macon on into Warner Robins. And then as we go from about 7, 8 o'clock, finally just moving on out. So it's going to be a quick thing in the morning and then gone. And then we're back to sunshine and breezy. Here's Saturday afternoon looking good. And actually now it's all day Saturday. It'll be Sunday morning now, it's looking like, before the rain comes in, and it should kind of hang around. Now, if you look at the RPM model, it shows it's almost gone by noon. So maybe end up with one good day and a half of a good day if it plays out like this. We'll see. But the European and GFS models here both show at 3 in the afternoon still the potential. But we're going to keep watching that RPM now that we're within a few days to see how that plays out. It may just be Sunday morning and then it's gone. But whatever happens, we go into next week. We dry out, but we're also going cooler. You're going to see some numbers on the 7-day that are a little bit weird looking actually for this winter coming up in just a little bit. We're looking at 50s to start today. Tomorrow in the afternoon, we'll bring it into the 70s. Tomorrow night, however, we will go colder as we bring it down into the upper 30s. And then Saturday afternoon with sunshine, we're going to be looking at mid 60s. So you would think with one of the warmest winters on record in its final week next week, it would be going, hey, let's do 80, whatever, right? How interesting is this? All the crazy numbers we've had this winter, and then we'll finish up with 50s for highs and near freezing for lows next week. So just some weird stuff. to finish up the final week of winter. This is not the full final week here, but this gets you at least toward the end. Of course, meteorological spring began March 1st. We're back after this.
Welcome back. Tax day creeping up on us, April 18th, if you're keeping track. Terry Parker, certified public accountant with Clifton, Lipford, Hardison, and Parker, joining us now. All right, today talking about deductions for charity. So let's start out with a big one. Let's say you donate a car. What's the rule for that?
Well, it depends on what the charity does with it. If they sell it, let's say they start making sales at an auction, then the sales proceeds become your deduction.
Okay.
But if they use it for their purpose, let's say Meals on Wheels uses it to deliver meals, Goodwill uses it to teach people how to do auto repair and mechanics, or if they give it to a needy family, then we're only concerned about the fair market value at the date of gift. But no matter what, you've got to get a Form 1098-C from the charity, or it's a no-go.
Okay, so otherwise you can't deduct it at all.
No.
All right, now as far as contributions, let's talk about, let's say non-cash contributions, maybe clothing or something like that. What are we looking at here?
Well, if it's over $500, you need to file an 8283 with your tax return, and on that form you'll state the name and address of the charity, the description of your property, fair market value, your cost. If it's over $5,000, you got to put a written appraisal with it unless it's publicly traded stock.
Wow. All right, what about deductions that are limited? What were we talking about there?
All contributions are limited.
Okay.
Based on certain income limitations, but if you exceed those during the year, you have up to 5 years to carry over this excess amount before they run out.
All right, so and of course deductions, the more you can get, the better you are.
That's right.
All right, again, April 18th for
Correct.
tax. All right, still to come on Eyewitness News at 5. We're talking about a deputy in Dallas who set a record that's going to take years to break. Why? Well, we'll tell you. One hint, he's 94.
Get this, there's an officer in Texas who just set a Guinness World Record.
Sean Giggy with our Dallas station introduces us to a man who has all of his colleagues beat in at least one category.
Here at the Johnson County Sheriff's Office in Cleburne, there's a case that has puzzled one veteran investigator for nearly a century. The case for retirement.
I'm afraid to stop. I'm afraid I couldn't get started again.
Because he has no desire to quit, Bill Hardin is, by all accounts, the oldest police officer in the world at 94.
I love it.
Bill started his career with the Fort Worth Police Department after World War II and spent most of it chasing down drug dealers.
I'm ready. I'm coming.
These days, Bill says he keeps showing up because, well, what else would he do?
I don't fish. I don't hunt. Don't drink. Don't smoke.
Nobody in history has been a police officer longer than Bill. Really? He's been doing this 70 years and broke the Guinness World Record for longest career 9 years ago. But neither his age nor his tenure are what's most impressive about him still coming to work. Bill hasn't gotten a paycheck in 24 years because, although a full-fledged police officer, a reserve deputy doesn't get paid.
I guess I'm just geared to keep going.
And if you think a 94-year-old officer doesn't have much to offer the department, Sheriff Adam King says, think again.
He might look like an older guy, but his mind, he's still 35 years old and still ready to go to work.
But Bill's biggest lesson has been the way he served.
He makes you realize and understand the importance of treating people well.
Gotta tip your hat to a career well served.
Thank you, partner.
Wow, that is impressive. 94 years old.
I guess I still got a few years left.
Frank, you got many a year. I'm so excited. Yay!
I'm excited to hear that too.
Another check on our forecast when we return. You might be tempted to check out a food trend happening on Cherry Street these days.
Penang red curry.
I wouldn't want to have that much competition across the street from me in a city as large as Macon.
Is there another Thai place?
There is.
Well, then this street would just be fit to be tied.
Stole that one from Ben.
Yes.
Macon's only two purely Thai restaurants sit practically across the street from one another. Sang's and Lada Bistro sit a stone's throw from the other one's storefront.
Tonight, Suzanne Lawler scopes out the situation Find out how the entrepreneurs feel about the close quarters and if customers think there are enough differences to go around. We'll serve up that story. That is tonight at 6.
Looks tasty.
How about that? Hey, this is tasty. We have a rain chance tomorrow morning. Maybe that's not tasty if you're trying to drive in it, but it would be nice later in the day and windy. Saturday looks good, but maybe a cool rain for part of the day on Sunday.
Thanks for watching. Hope you'll join us for Eyewitness News at 5.
The news continues now on 13WMAZ.com.
Andy's up next. We're back in 28.